I'm sure you guys have heard about the EDP situation. You know, one of the biggest YouTubers of all time a couple months ago pretty much threw his career out the window, and it was completely his own fault. And now EDP is trying to make a return to YouTube. So a couple days it came out that EDP has finally made another YouTube channel, which if you didn't know, a bit of a recap on the EDP situation. He's a huge YouTuber, one of my favorite meme guys, unfortunately, but he did some really disgusting things. He talked very inappropriately to a supposed 13-year-old, and he even agreed to meet up with her, which followed the cupcake incident, which I'm sure a lot of you know, the notorious cupcake incident. But it turns out there was no 13-year-old, and it was actually a pedo catching group that caught him in the act, and they released an entire hour-long episode that just made EDP look like crap. And ever since then, his life has pretty much went down the drain. And so I'm taking a look at my analytics, and only like 2% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. His YouTube channel was terminated after that, and there were reports that he was kept on being kicked out of his apartment, so he was being homeless. Ever since then, I think, you know, a big thing for a lot of these YouTubers to do, the proven solution is if you do something wrong and people catch you for it, pretty much all you have to do for a lot of these major creators is pretty much just stay silent on the issue, and people will eventually forget about it. And I think that's what EDP actually thinks it's going to happen. Like, I'm not even sure he's even addressed the issue, regardless of what he's, you know, posting his videos on. I don't think he's addressed it. I don't think he's even tried to apologize. He just thinks people are going to forget and forgive him and somehow allow him back on YouTube. And if you didn't know, obviously he shouldn't be on YouTube, you know, for obvious reasons. But another thing is he created a new channel after his old one was deleted, and that's against community guidelines. It's ban evading, so he's already breaking community guidelines by just existing on the platform. But here he is making, you know, his first couple comeback videos are about, you know, his old content kind of thing. You know, he's talking about sports teams and trolling, and he's doing all this stuff, and he thinks he can retain, you know, his fan base. And the unfortunate fact of the matter is that he can. I mean, to a certain extent, he 100% can retain some of his fan base. If you look through his content, there's plenty of people that are still continuing to support the guy, even though he did horrible stuff and he hasn't even apologized for it. And I mean, I think that's why EDP hasn't honestly, you know, released an apology or said anything about the situation, is because people will continue to support him no matter what. And so for the last like year or so, he's actually been streaming on these miscellaneous website streaming platforms. You know, he obviously isn't allowed on stuff like Twitch or YouTube live streaming, so he just, you know, he goes on these random streaming platforms and he gets trolled to all hell. And so he's finally, I guess, tired of that, and he's made his return to YouTube, and somehow his channel is still up, which is very surprising to me, considering, you know, he should pretty much be banned by now. Obviously they've age restricted most of his videos, so I don't think YouTube, anyone like human at YouTube, knows that his channel exists yet, or it'd be gone. But YouTube's bot system obviously knows that, you know, he's back again. So I'm quite surprised he hasn't been taken down yet. And I think, you know what, is, you know, people are asking to get his channel report banned. And you know what, I'd like to agree with that, but honestly, I think he might just continue to try to come back. And it's just, it's sad and it's pathetic, and it's such a fall from grace. Now, I don't know how you guys felt about EDP. Like, obviously, I wasn't like a major fan. Like, I wasn't watching his sports breakdowns because I didn't care. And when he took, you know, videos of him talking about random stuff while taking a crap in public, like, I had no interest in that. I don't know why people did, but they did. But I loved his memes. You know, there were so many funny and iconic clips of him that were turned into memes, and those were some of my favorites. So obviously I had a good enough opinion of the guy. It all kind of just ruined it, you know what I mean? What he did was just unspeakable, you know, trying to meet up with someone like that, you know, one of his fans apparently. It was just gross, and I'm sad, you know. I really liked EDP before, obviously, and to see him go from, what I consider one of the biggest meme people on the internet to, this sad and pathetic guy trying to make a comeback to YouTube, even though, he's just going to get banned. I don't know what he's trying to prove. YouTube was his main source of income. If none of that stuff was exposed, he'd still be making videos today and, making money and entertaining a bunch of people. But now that he's back, I don't know what's the next move for a guy like EDP. I mean, he obviously hasn't dealt with this. He's not trying to rebuild parts of his life. It doesn't seem like he's gotten help. He won't even address the situation. And you know what? That's another thing. Like, I think what he did is completely unforgivable. But however, if I saw someone in that position and they were, I don't know, trying to get help, I guess, making atones, even addressing the situation, maybe I could not hate them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would forgive someone that did something like EDP, but at least I could stop disliking them so much, because that's how I feel about EDP. I really like the guy's memes, and then he did terrible crap, and then he hasn't even addressed it. And I think, sure, the terrible crap is, terrible crap, but I think it's even worse that he's just putting it under the rug. This is not something he can just continue to come back to the internet without even addressing. And so this is just another unfortunate, event where a major YouTuber does crappy things, and he thinks he can come back to the platform, even though it's not going to work. I'm not sure what EDP will do, after his YouTube channel gets banned again, because it will happen. But I wish he'd come and address it, and I don't know, apologize, say he's getting help. I don't know, take yourself to the police. I mean, run all the way to the jail. Well, maybe not run, but you know what I mean. But the thing is, he just he doesn't want to address these problems. And for some YouTubers, this works, but it's not going to work for EDP. I mean, this was one of the biggest stories ever. I mean, all the major YouTubers were talking about this, getting millions of views. I think the Moist Critical and the Moist Critical and Some Ordinary Gamers videos both got like maybe tens of millions of views. So this is not something he can blow under the rug. Everyone knows what he did, and people are going to troll him in the comments, and no one's going to support him. His YouTube channel is going to get deleted. So honestly, I'm not exactly sure why he's returned. Maybe he thinks he can get away with it and start making money on YouTube again, but I don't see it happening. I mean, even if the YouTube bots don't delete his channel, the real humans at YouTube are obviously going to delete his channel because he's breaking community guidelines. So I don't even know why he's still uploading. It's like a desperate attempt to stay relevant, I guess. Maybe he can get more money off his fans on, these elaborate streaming websites that he's on. Maybe it's just a publicity stunt so he can make more money, but I don't know why he would return to YouTube, and I'm not surprised he would. I mean, of course, this was his main source of income, and the only reason he was relevant on the internet was because he was so popular on YouTube. And so of course, he'd want to come back to the main platform that made him so big. But it's just, it doesn't make much sense to me, because he's just going to get banned again. I mean, it's not a matter of if he's going to get banned, it's a matter of when. It's just a matter of time before the people at YouTube understand that, he's made another channel and he's ban evading, and of course they're going to ban him again. So why even make videos on it? I can't fathom why. And I think his fans and I think the people of YouTube deserve better. I mean, obviously, it's not like he watched EDP and, for respectful content. Of course, he was making crazy stuff before, and he swears so obnoxiously, even the YouTube bots, give him age restriction. But I think the people on YouTube deserve better. I think the people watching this would agree with me that he needs to address the thing. And at least apologize. I mean, again, I wouldn't forgive him, but at least there'd be some like acknowledgement of, hey, I did something super messed up. Like I remember even in the video that they caught him in, he was pretty much saying that he did nothing wrong, and he actually was just going to meet this 13-year-old for a cupcake, which, I mean, obviously that's a lie. That's just him being, you know, a weirdo. But I mean, it did spawn a pretty funny meme. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.